Hello, my dear students. To begin with, Shakespeare said, "The pen is mightier than the sword," but the pen itself is not enough to make an effective writer. We human beings are constantly shaped and influenced by our own experiences. We learn every day by doing and, of course, learn considerably more from our mistakes. Being a teacher myself, I have observed from my students that writing an essay often seems to be a dreaded task for them. Whether the essay is for a class test or examinations, many students often find this task overwhelming. Writing a good essay requires synthesis of material that cannot be done within 20 or 30 minutes time when you have during the examination. But it is a process which must be practiced at the time of preparation for the exams as well. An essay requires neatly written matter, clarity of points, good planning, accurate reading, fine thinking, purposeful writing, and scientific approach. Well, I do agree that writing an essay is a large project, but there are many steps you can take which would help you to break down the task into manageable parts. The most crucial stage in essay writing is that once you know the question asked, you could be able to identify the type of an essay. The question paper in the examinations have directive words you would have noticed in the essay questions, such as analyze, explain, discuss, illustrate, interpret, summarize, and many more. All these terms have specific connotations and require different types of answers. However, students have a tendency to write the same reply irrespective of these phrases being used in questions. Studying without understanding the significance of questions asked will lead to stereotyped answers. They lack originality and sharpness. Such blunt answers may help an individual to pass the regular examinations, but it will not make him or her successful in the competitive examination. Therefore, in this video, I would like to share my knowledge and observations of how to write an essay for the examinations, and particularly the competitive examinations, with special reference to the directive words asked in the essay questions. Coming to the first directive word, analyze, which means examine something in detail in order to explain and interpret it. For instance, when the child's report card is analyzed, we can determine the strengths and weaknesses. Therefore, when we attempt the question with the directive word of analyze, you need to subject the issue logically, divide and examine the parts, blend the results, and arrive at the conclusion. Example question for this directive word analyze. Analyze the social issues of poverty in the Indian society. So you will be understanding that how to make this issue logical, divide it into the different parts, and arrive at your conclusion along with the results. Next one is compare. The meaning is to say that something is similar to the other one. For example, noticing how much two sisters look alike. Compare two or more things and stress on similarities. Here, no need to elaborate the special features. For example, attempting the question on comparing the popular brands of smartphones, you can write the answer giving the stress on their similarities and no need to elaborate the special features. Coming to the next one, contrast. We all know that contrast means to show a difference. For example, the photos that reveal how much weight someone lost by contrasting the before and after shots. Differences alone are required to be highlighted in this type of question, but the variations between the two should also be listed. For example, the question given for the compare, that is the compare the popular brands of smartphones, can also be taken here, but here for the directive word of contrast, give importance to the differences. Next one is criticize. Most of the questions have this directive word, which means indicating the faults of someone or something in a disapproving way. If I can say it in an easy manner, when you tell someone that the food prepared is very bad, this is an example of when you criticize the food. Therefore, when you attempt a question with a criticize directive word, make judgments and mention the correctness, limitations, deficiencies, merits, and demerits. For example, take the question on criticize the practices that are followed in the system of school education in India. So for this question, you can give your judgments and can give the correctness, limitations, deficiencies, merits, and demerits as well. Next one is define. This is the most easiest thing to write. But when you look into the essay type, this question will not appear, but this directive word will not appear, but you can see the word called state, which means describing exactly the nature, scope or meaning. That is, attempting in this type of question, important information can be given in a very precise manner, but no need for diagrams and examples. That is, the answer should be given in a brief, clear and authentic manner. Every word is important and there is no detailed explanation is required. For example, define the law of gravitation, define the concept of social welfare, or state the concept of humanism. So, for this type of questions, we can give the answer in a brief, clear and authentic manner. Every word is important, but we don't require detailed explanation. Coming to the next one, describe. This is the most popular directive word in the essay questions, which means giving a detailed account. For instance, an eyewitness describing what he saw to the policeman. Or in a lighter vein, a boy describing a girl. Give a detailed account of all the points with diagrams, comparisons and illustrations whenever this directive word appears in the essay question. For example, how would you describe yourself? Describe the life cycle of a butterfly. Describe the salient features of the Indian Constitution. So, while attempting this, you can give an account of all the points with diagrams, comparisons and illustrations. The next one is discuss, which means having a conversation or talk about a particular topic. You can discuss something with another person or multiple people. Therefore, discuss question words typically require an in-depth answer from different angles with pros and cons and various viewpoints. For example, attempting the question on discuss the major tenets of Buddhist faith or discuss the features of democracy. So, when you have to answer this type of question, you need to require an in-depth answer from different angles with both the merits or demerits and various viewpoints. The next one is enumerate. Enumeration is a complete ordered listing of all the items in a collection. It is commonly used in mathematics and computer science to refer to a listing of all of the elements of a set. So whenever the question with this directive word is appeared, all points has to be listed with brief explanation and if necessary, required statistics can be given. The example for this enumerate question is enumerate the formula of Fibonacci sequence or in the art subject, enumerate the works of Abdul Kalam. So you can give all the points to be listed with the brief explanation. The next one is establish. Generally, it means to institute something, for instance, setting up on a law firm by an agreement or enactment. Prove the facts by showing evidence based on experiments or real life experience. For instance, the market research questions or sample survey comes under this category. These questions require research to find the answers. So when you attempt the question like establish the fact that does inclusive education best serve students with disabilities? For this, we have to give an answer highlighting the research being done on this issue. The next one is evaluate, which means forming an idea of the amount, number or value of assets. It can also be stated that to evaluate property, to judge or determine the significance, worth or quality of assets. Actually, weak teachers create evaluative questions that will lead the student to make generalizations about and critically evaluate a text. The perfect example is when a teacher reviews a paper in order to give it a grade. This is the only type of question in which your personal opinion can be stated. For example, analyze the merits and demerits of a particular topic, that is the system of joint family, and it must be based on authoritative inferences. The next one is explain or account. Here, making an idea or situation clear to someone by describing it in more detail or revealing relevant facts. For instance, explanation given by a student to her teacher why she did not complete his homework last night. So when we attempt the question on the explain directive word, categorical and detailed answer should be given for what, how, why, when, where and by whom. So this can be understood clearly by seeing the example. Explain the factors responsible for the rise of Indian nationalism. Explain the causes for the outbreak of First or Second World War. So you can give a categorical and detailed answer for this type of question. The next important thing is illustrate, which is defined as to make clear or to tell a story using drawings, pictures, examples or comparisons. An example of illustrate is someone drawing pictures for a children's book. So when you attempt this type of question, practical examples, instances in history and anecdotes from real life should be given to substantiate. For example, illustrate the doctrines developed Amaravati School of Architecture, or illustrate the major problems faced by working women. So you need to highlight here the practical examples, instances in history and even the anecdotes from the real life will be useful. Interpret, which explains the meaning of information or actions or explaining the meaning of hidden information. For example, interpret is a person using sign language to translate what someone is saying to a deaf person. When you analyze a story, you try to find a meaning for the story. So, give examples along with a personal opinion to interpret an event whenever you find a essay question with this directive word called interpret. The example for this is interpret from the given table what is the maximum number of products that can be manufactured in a day. So the answers can be supported from the given text. Justify, which means to show or prove an act, claim, statement, etc. to be right or reasonable. When you make an excuse to make bad behavior or to provide an explanation for something to make it seem okay. Questions used to challenge old ideas and to develop new ideas are known as justifying questions. So, the reasons for arriving at certain decisions should be given by the way of providing sources. For example, see the question. Information technology helps efficiently in knowledge generation. Justify. So, you can give the answer as the reasons for arriving at this decision with the help of the sources. Narrate. To give a spoken or written account of a story, film, piece of music, etc. The children enjoyed the lively manner with which she narrated her life story. Therefore, when you attempt the question with the directive word of narrate, the story-like description of the answer can be given without the use of illustrations. So, you can narrate the achievements of a father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, or you can even narrate the life, career and achievements of a former president of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Next one is outline. So outline is a tool used to organize written ideas about a topic or thesis into a logical order. So brief answer with main points is enough and the answer should be in a systematic format. For example, when the question appears, outline the market regulation policies introduced by Alauddin Khilji means you can give a brief outline of the main points is enough instead of giving a big explanation. Or outline the features of Indian Constitution. So here also the main points is more than enough. The next one is relate. We know to make or show a connection between is relation. For instance, you can relate to someone's story, something like that has happened to you. Therefore, the relationship between two objects or events should be explained for this type of question. For example, relate the social change within the city of Chennai and relate it to developments in the country as a whole. So, we can take the two events and it can be explained appropriately. Review. The general meaning is to make a formal assessment of something with the intention of instituting change if necessary. Or it can be a critical appraisal of a book, play, film, etc. published in a newspaper or magazine. Therefore, when we attempt the question on review, origin, growth and consequences must be given in a detailed manner along with the preventive measures to be taken. For example, attempting the question on review the measures undertaken by the Government of India the context of cybercrime. So we can give the origin, growth, consequences, and also the preventive measures to be taken. Summarize. It means giving a brief statement of the main points of something. Therefore, give a condensed account of the main points. Include conclusions and avoid unnecessary details. It goes well with the keyword of outline as well. Example, summarize the features of Indian Constitution. Therefore, it can be given in a condensed manner. Trace. You all know it is defined as evidence or a visible mark. An example of a trace is a footprint at a crime scene. Therefore, the question with the directive word of trace should be explained right from the beginning with up-to-date progress. For example, trace the development of higher education system in Tamil Nadu. So for this type of question, you can give an explanation from the beginning with up-to-date progress of the system of higher education in Tamil Nadu. So these are the directive words. It can be attempted well with these tips. Above all, when the essays are written, ensure that errors in language or contents do not creep in. If you concentrate well, only minimum correction would be required during the final reading of the paper after writing all the answers. I hope, following the tips highlighted in this video, you can attempt writing essays with an emphasis on the directive words asked in the essay questions and draft your essay in an efficient manner. Practice makes man perfect. So do practice the same, and I wish you all to come out in flying colors. Thank you for watching, and do give your feedback to me for this video.